Hello everybody and welcome to Hell on Earth. This ranged unit only challenge literally brought my mind to the edge of sanity. It is unbelievable how hard this challenge actually is. But let's not talk too long and quickly cover the rules and start right into it. I am allowed to use any unit that is classified as a range unit, buildings that have range attacks and god powers as well. Villagers and heroes are only allowed for resources and relics. I need to delete every unit that is not mandatory for the level to the best of my skills. And the challenge will be played on the hard difficulty. Trust me, it's already hard enough. I will play the first 10 levels of the main campaign, Fall of the Trident, in Age of Mythology Retold, which are the Greek levels. We need to defend the island of Atlantis against waves of pirates within the first level with our lead hero Akanthos. But sadly we are not allowed to use him because he is an infantry melee unit. Luckily we get Toxotis, our go-to ranged unit, as well as shooting ranges where we can build more. The waves of pirate melee are filled with ships and kraken, as well as some landing troops. We get a few villagers that are farming resources so we can build more units. The strategy for this level is pretty simple. Just build more units and try to keep the existing ones alive. We still encounter two of our main problems throughout the run. Firstly, in Age of Mythology Retold, every unit has advantages against a specific type of unit. For example, Toxotis are good against infantry, and one of the biggest unit types are the myth units, which you can build at temples with favor. The problem is, only heroes and other myth units have a good modifier against myth units, and like I told you already, we can't use our hero. In this level it's not that bad, but we can already see that normal units take a long time to kill myth units. The second problem is units that spawn. As we are right now playing as Poseidon, our buildings spawn units after they die, and these units are melee. Except those problems, the level was pretty chill, and after defending 6 waves the pirates stole the trident of Poseidon and we go into the next level. In consequences, the second level, we need to find Kamos, the thief of the trident, and retrieve the stolen object. We start off at the beach where we have a town center at which we can build more villagers. We quickly scout the sea with our ships and build up our eco. Then we build a temple which is necessary to go to the next age. Each age gives you 2 gods to choose from, which give partly different new units, god powers and upgrades, which greatly increases your strength. We pick Hermes as our undergod, cause he has the myth unit Centaurus. Centauri are myth units that have a special attack which allows them to fire a volley of arrows from the sky. They are one of the most important units for this part of the run, simply because they have a damage modifier against other myth units. After getting to the next stage, we build some shooting ranges for Toxoitos and start with one of the most important buildings in this run, the wall. It is a sheep building that has a lot of HP and can be placed nearly everywhere. But the most important thing is that our ranged units can shoot over it and therefore be safe against melee attackers. We quickly close both entrances of the village off with walls so that we are safe for the time. We do get attacked from the enemy one time at our weaker side, but we can quickly defend against it. Sadly, we can only get to the second age in this level because every other age kept. That means to break through the enemy defenses that we have to build up a big army. After getting a good amount of units, I started pressuring and going to the enemy base. After defeating a sizable army of the enemy, we encounter our next big problem of the run. Every unit and building in the game has a defensive modifier against different types of attacks. There are 3 main types of attacks: normal melee damage, normal range damage, and crushing damage. Most units are highly resistant against crushing damage, and most buildings are highly resistant against normal range damage. You can probably see the problem already. All of our units right now do only normal range damage and have no modifier against buildings. That means we do round about 1 damage per shot, and most of the buildings have over 1000 HP. So we have to wait a long time to take down buildings. This is also mostly the rest of the level. We prioritize buildings that spawn units to limit the enemy unit count. After a painful amount of time, we are shooting down the enemy town center, and with a good stream of reinforcements we are able to take it down and finish this level. In Scratching the Surface, our next mission, we need to establish a base and destroy 2 of the Trojan harbors to help in the Great Trojan War. We start off at another beach with a counter and our new hero Ajax, as well as a lot of... We start off at another beach with Acanthus and our new hero Ajax. Ajax is also a melee hero, so we are not allowed to use it. We delete all the units that we are not allowed to use and send Acanthus and Ajax to the water where roaming pirates are gonna kill them. The first win we need to do is to get to the settlement where we are supposed to start our base. With the remaining 4 Toxitois, I tried walking to the settlement, but enemy forces were in the way. After getting destroyed and a quick restart, I walked around the enemies and got to the settlement, where I need to build a town center and get my eco up and going. In this try, I tried to go directly for the enemies near my settlement after completing the town center, which was a really bad idea, because I had not nearly enough units. All of my Toxitois got killed and some of my villagers. The town center still finished the remaining enemies off, but because of the delay and the missing units, I got overrun in the next attack from the enemies and had to do another reset. In this attempt, early game was mostly the same, except that I didn't rush the enemy and instead built up my army as well as getting my walls down to secure my settlement. In the first wave from the enemies that killed me in my last attempt, we get to use one of our most important strategies of this run, to let villagers repair walls during the attack on them. Because the repair speed of villagers is way higher than any attacker that isn't specifically designed to kill walls and it is free to repair, this combined with the ability of our ranged unit to shoot above walls lets us directly defend waves of enemies without losing units. After defeating the first wave, we continue ecoing up and strengthen our defense. Will the next wave attacks us, we go to the third age under the god Dionysus. We do this only because we get more upgrades, especially to our ships, which will go and destroy the enemy harbors to end the mission. After going to the next age and increasing our forces in the sea with a mix of arrow boats and ballista boats, in the sea are also modifiers very important, where our 3 main boats are like rock, paper, scissors. And here as well we have myth units specifically for the water battles. After scouting the enemy bases, with our water scouts, we engage in the first attack on one of the harbors and quickly take it out from the sea. During that time we get attacked with another wave of enemies that break through our defenses, but I was able to stop them without losing that much. Then I sent my ships to the next harbor, and I am able to take it out without any problems. This was only the 3rd level and I already had a heck of a time. A good indicator to how hell-like this challenge will play out. The next level, a fine plan, is a 2 objective mission. We first need to take enemy gold mines and then break through the Trojan Gate. At the beginning we start in the 2nd age with a diverse roster of units. Most importantly, we get a new hero, Odysseus, who is a ranged hero that we can use. He has the special ability to shoot a piercing shot. Besides him, we get 2 arrow ships and 2 fishing ships, as well as some villagers. Most of our troops we need to delete because they are melee. We also get some buildings where we can use the shooting range and temple to build units. At the beginning we stack a few centauri because we got no gold. After getting 3 centauris, we take the first gold mine to get some gold income. After that, we play it pretty simple. We use villagers for gold and wood and fishing bones for food. We build walls to secure and then go to the 3rd age. After that we get attacked for the first time from a good amount of Toxoitos, but we are clearly able to defend against them. Next we got attacked on the sea, where I then started building some ballista ships to defend against it. For the next 2 minutes I just continued ecoing up and building a stronger army. Then I got attacked again from another wave of Toxoitos, round about where I advanced to the 4th age with the god Hephaestus. Here is the first time I built a fortress, an advanced defense building that produces siege weapons. Luckily both siege weapons are ranged units that shoot from afar. I started producing them and also placed down my last god power. A temple which consistently generates passive resources. A very strong god powers in long matches. In the next 5 minutes I started by destroying the other gold mines of Troja and then started my siege on the Trojan gate. While the siege was going, I built some more shooting ranges and fortresses in the front line to have a quicker way for reinforcements. The rest was just cleaning up and letting my siege weapons take out the Trojan gate. With that I got the victory, and all in all it is not that hard of a level. Level 5, just enough rope, starts off with us needing to help Ajax, that is currently under attack. Sadly, we get mostly melee units except Odysseus. That means we already need to use a god power to actually be able to defend the enemy attack. For that reason I use the god power restoration to heal all friendly units. After saving Ajax, we need to go to a settlement near our position. There are a few villagers to start off our eco. I started off with continuing to eco and getting a wall as well as shooting range. But the game seems to want me to suffer. That's why the first attack hits from the side where I don't have a wall. I couldn't nearly defend this, so I immediately had to restart. The beginning was the exact same, except that I built a second wall where the enemies came from. But no, the game really wants to see me suffer, with the wave coming from the 3rd wave where I don't have a wall. That means another reset, but I still learned a lesson. In the next try I actually built all walls, so that no enemies could easily enter. Still, the sheer count of enemies was really hard to defend against, but it was possible with our villagers constantly repairing the walls. Another big problem in this level is that the enemy waves can split up so that you have to defend on 2 fronts instead of 1, which greatly increases the number of villagers you need to repair as well as the number of ranged units to defend. Still, in this try I was able to defend the first wave, which felt really good, after trying it so many times. Not 5 minutes later I got overwhelmed from the next wave. And that only because one of the biggest enemies in this run appeared. The catapult. A siege weapon that deals unbelievable amounts of damage against walls and buildings. And seeing that our only defense mechanism is walls, I can already tell that catapults are going to be hell in this level. So not very surprising that catapults took down my wall, and the rest is history. In the next tries, I tried different approaches to the eco game to hopefully be strong enough to defend against the catapults. From building more Toxoitos or having more walls. The only thing that really worked was to build my own catapults to snipe the enemies. With this strategy combined with more walls for backup, I was able to defend the second wave for the first time. But I still took a lot of losses like my fortress. But because of that I was able to advance my position and destroy the nearby food sources of the enemy, as well as building up my army again. Then the 3rd wave came, and oh boy, I was not prepared for that. Not only got I what was already in the previous waves, They also sent Colossi, which are H4 mythical units that have a giant HP pool and do a lot of damage to building and basically everything else. This unit quickly destroyed my position and after that my settlement. The big problem is not only the catapult that take out my walls, but also the myth units that have so much HP that Odysseus is not nearly enough to get through it. I also don't have the option to build centaurs because the game locks me to another god. The only mythical range unit that I could potentially build is Medusa in the 4th age. In my next attempts I tried again and again different types of strategies, but most of them ended in a loss quicker than before. I also tried to get to the 4th age, but every time I did this I didn't have nearly enough time or resources to defend the waves before I could get out in Medusa. So after multiple hours of trying out different strategies, it just didn't seem like it would work. Therefore I decided, given the special nature of this level, that it is not possible for only range unit without cheesing anything. Then I just finished the level normally so that we can continue on with this challenge. The next level, I hope this works, is a really cool and interesting one. We need to firstly farm 1000 wood and then build the Trojan horse. But not only that, after we infiltrate Troja, we need to destroy it. So it's basically a two-part mission. We start off with 4 toxoids and Odysseus as usable units as well as some villagers. We start off by increasing our eco and building a shooting range. Then, we already get attacked from a wave of cavalry that quickly kill our range units. Luckily, our defensive buildings clear the wave. There is a trigger event. When only 2 units remain in this wave, they try to escape back to Troja and tell about our existence. Sadly, we are not in the position to stop these 2 riders, so we will have to deal with more waves. This seems pretty manageable, except the factor that for some reason you are not allowed to build any walls. That means we have to build our defensive structures with normal buildings. So, I started with making a small defensive line out of normal houses. For some unknown reason, I just didn't get attacked anymore. So I just continued ecoing up and farming enough wood. Then I just panicked because I thought I would get attacked soon by a big army, so I built a giant defensive line out of different types of buildings, which looked really cool to be honest, but like you already know, I just didn't get attacked, so it was pretty useless. That's why I just built up the horse and got to the second part of the level. In this part you need to steal some siege weapons and destroy the Trojan gate from the inside, so that the Greek army can invade. I again can only use Odysseus, which wasn't really a problem. I quickly got to the siege weapons and rushed to destroy the gate. After which I got a giant new army and a new god power. But most of the army is melee units, therefore I cannot use them. What I can use are 8 catapults. Still, after trying multiple times I just couldn't get the objectives, which are to destroy 3 fortresses, simply because I can't destroy units effectively and you get immediately attacked by a lot of units. Even with using all the god powers is just not possible. That's why again, for this part I simply used all the units and finished the level quickly. In level 7, Akanthos finds on his way back to Atlantis a port in Greece that has fallen in the hands of bandits, and save Chiron, a vice centaur. We start with only 2 heroes and both of them are melee. That's why we need to fight with them till we get to the first prison hold, where we are able to free Centauri, and from this point we are only using ranged troops again. After freeing them, we fight against some bandits and find another prison. Here we get more centauri, as well as a siege weapon. After destroying another wall, I continued on my way, where I encountered a lot of units. That's also where the first try ends, and I do everything again to this point, but now I started to kite and made small groups of enemies to kill them with smaller losses. After a long tedious kiting session, I was able to advance to the first hold of the pirates, which I took down swiftly. But I lost a great amount of units and there were still a lot of enemies around the hold left. Thankfully, after destroying the hold, I was granted resources and shooting ranges so that I can fill up my army again. Then I needed to kite a bit more and let my army build up. So I just sit still for a few minutes and after that continued on my saving mission. Again, I needed to kite a lot and waiting for units to build up again. The next pirate hold was defended way stronger than the previous one. To my favor, you can find a temple that generates resources. With this I was able to build infinite ranged units. For my raid on the hold I built some Centauri to deal with the upper myth units and naturally build more ranged units. This army was strong enough to take down the hold pretty easy and I was given more production buildings. Now I only need to kill the fortress where Chiron is a prison. I broke through the first wall and fought the enemy army. I killed most of them, but my units were not enough. That's why I needed to sit back again and let my units build up. The next raid was enough to kill the enemy units, but I again needed to just wait for my units to rebuild, because the enemy fortress has 4000 HP and again really high resistances. So I needed a big enough army to defeat it in one go. After 20 minutes of waiting, my army was big enough to defeat the fortress and I was able to finish this hellish level. Bad news is the next level. The objective is to push through the enemy's defenses and reach the mine on the other side of the map. The twist is, you have two bases that are not directly connected. In the first base we have our new hero, Chiron, with a special ability to deal a lot of damage to one target. He is also a ranged unit, so we can use him. As well as 4 peltas, which are ranged units that are good against other ranged units. This base also has no food or gold, but a lot of wood. The second base had 8 toxoitos and a lot of gold and food. We start off with ecoing in both bases and building walls and shooting ranges. After some time we get attacked from waves that switches between the different bases. First waves were manageable, but the second ones really screwed me over. I tried building tier 3 myth units to fight against the enemy myth units. Sadly I was not fast enough, so they destroyed my settlement quickly. In the next try I didn't repeat my mistake. The early game was again the same as the other try, but I started building myth units earlier. More specific, Manticore, that are able to hit up to 3 targets and have a 3 times modifier against myth units. With them on my side I was able to defend the waves and slowly push into the heart of the enemy base. But this was a really tedious act, because I needed to manage 2 sides, both equipped with siege weapons and a constant kite to reduce the numbers of losses in my army. That's why it took a long time for me to finally get my bases connected. And my assault on the enemy really started. After some more pushing the enemy, building walls and restocking my army, I was able to clear most of the left side of the map and advance my attack to the objective. Once I was near the objective, I got an upgrade on my Toxitos that allows them to do more damage against building, which can be really handy. Sadly, during my assault on the objective, my first base got raided and mostly defeated. Though it was really close, I was still able to finish the mission. Now, the second last mission, Revelation, is playing in the underworld. We need to destroy the giant ram before it breaks down the Hades gate to Tartarus. We start off with only Chiron as a usable unit, but get nearly instant reinforcement of Centauri. One of the side objectives is to destroy stones to block the pathway of reinforcements for the enemies. Without doing that, they would get a lot more units. So I opted to do that, and Chiron really comes in clutch at this level. Because most of the enemy units are myth units, and they do reduce damage against heroes. Chiron is able to tank a lot of damage. That paired with a bit of kiting and letting Chiron regenerate, I am able to destroy all stones pretty confidently without too much losses. During the whole level, we get constant reinforcement, and some of it we can actually use. We can also find free Medusas that are really strong and help a lot. Then I had a few tries at killing everyone at the ram and taking it down. but I realized quickly that the giant ram with its 24,000 HP and 90% projectile resistance just is statistically impossible to destroy before it takes down the gate. So for this level again we have to use every unit, and with that we are able to quickly clear it. Now let's go to the last level for this video, Strangers. In this mission we have to escape the underworld, because our initial entrance got blocked off. For that we need to cross through the underworld and collect relics. In general this mission is pretty similar to the last one. We start off with Chiron and 4 Toxoids. We find shades throughout the mission that do enormous amounts of damage to myth units, but they are melee so we cannot use them. Still, I will scout with them, because that is also what the level intends you to do with them. So, like I already told you, the strategy is pretty much the same. Let Chiron tank and the range units do the rest. We get a bit of reinforcement throughout the level, which consists of Toxoids and Centauri, as well as some non-usable units. After some kiting and letting Chiron tank, we are able to get to the first relic, which gives me the god power of golden armor. Then we continue on and got some more reinforcements during our way to the next relic. After clearing everything around the second relic, we let one of our other heroes pick it up and continue on. Directly after that, we need to cross the river Styx, where we get a few mythic ships that we will need to take down the enemy Krakens. Next, we land on the upper side of the river and continue our journey to the last relic. Again, more kiting before I have to use one of my god powers to win the fight around the last relic. Now we just need to put the relics into the 3 temples at the end of the underworld. Well, most of the way was pretty uneventful. In the last section we encountered a horde of myth units, among them also 3 colossi. We used the god power Lightning Storm to kill most of the myth units directly, but the colossi was untouched, so I tried letting Chiron tank. Sadly, colossi just are too tanky and deal too much damage, so that Chiron was not able to tank them for long. That's why I need to wait a bit and let him regenerate. Then I was able to kill one of the colossi and decided to just bait the other away from the entrance and let my heroes go to the temples. With that, I was able to finish nearly all of the Greek part of the campaign with only ranged unit. I hope you enjoyed this challenge, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to support this channel. Since this is my first video, I would really appreciate comments on what I can do better and what type of challenges you would like to see next. With that, bye bye and see you in the next challenge.